but I want to kind of get an idea from you. What your considerations were when you first encountered digital marketing. What challenges were to try and get in with that kind of thing.
Yeah. So and it's actually a really good question, because you know what most people see? Most people, all they see is the end result. They don't see the struggle and the progress that happened, right? So, I was able to quit my engineering job in 3 months from when I started digital marketing, and
That's
last
awesome.
month I had a $33,000 weekend, so 3 days, and I
Yeah.
made
Oh, gee.
so, that's what people see. What they don't know is what happened during those first 3 months, because it was not, and even after that, I continue to have different challenges, right? But still challenges. And so I had really two main concerns when I started with digital marketing. All right. The first one is the price tag. Okay, so I'm
Yeah.
I'm coming from a place of an employee. I wasn't like bottom of the totem pole by any means, but so I was making decent money, but I was not living within those means, and so I had a big pile of debt, right? So now I have all this debt, and here I am looking at a training program that has a pretty penny price tag on it,
Right.
and that was not an easy choice. And in fact, and I don't recommend this, but I didn't even tell my wife until after the fact, right? Uh, that did not go over so well.
Yeah.
So not a smart idea,
Can you
but
say
the point
doghouse?
is, that was like, yeah, that was like a huge, like, just a fight that I was having with myself about, is it going to be worth it? Like, this is a huge investment. Am I going to see a return? And of course I did. But that was hard. That was really, really hard. So that was one issue. The other issue I had has to do more with like confidence, right? So I was a very confident guy. I still am, and I knew if you talk to me anything about my engineering career, man, I could rattle things off in like full confidence. I know exactly what the problem is, that kind of stuff. But um, all of a sudden, I found myself doubting and thinking, what if it doesn't work, right? Because so I'm not just some single college kid or anything like that. Like I've got 5 kids to look after,
Yeah.
and so I'm like, man, what if it doesn't work out? And what am I going to do? And that was an internal struggle that I basically had to get over and say, no, listen, it is going to work out. Like you can make it work, because I've never, I don't know, personally, I've never really not succeeded at something if I really wanted it.
Yeah.
Um, it's something I've always been able to do. Now I've failed at things, but again, it's a mindset thing, right? I didn't fail. It was a stepping stone to get to my success. So having that, now what helped when I made the decision to actually get the training and pay a lot of money, what that helped, because you know what? Now all of a sudden I'm invested. Now all of a sudden I've got skin in the game.
Yeah.
So now failure was definitely not an okay. So um, anyway, so that's a little bit about, those were probably my two biggest struggles when I got started.
Yeah. Right. Well, and I know there's a lot of people kind of in that situation where it's like, boy, this is going to be a stretch. But you're right. I think that when it is something that is more than, just difficult, in other words, not just handed to you, that
Yeah.
you respect the business more, and you put more effort into making it successful.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know what? There's also a little bit of a fear factor that keeps you from being reckless as well.
Yeah.
Um, so like, I'll tell you what, when I had that initial success, all of a sudden I was reckless. So like, even though I was making money online and stuff like that, all of a sudden, like, I had all this money for ad spend, and I'm like, psh, now I'm
Yeah.
just gonna make more money. And I spent it recklessly, and that was another challenge. And all of a sudden now I'm like back at square one. I'm like, oh my gosh, know,
But
and
from
so
that, you're
sometimes it's
probably able to learn something about how to manage the business a little bit better.
right. Yep, exactly.
Yeah. So, any words of wisdom for people who are, looking at it and thinking about it and humming and hawing?
Yeah. I would say so. One of the guys that I love like listening to and following is Frank Kern, because he kind of takes these business concepts of any niche, right, any category of business, and he simplifies everything. Everything that guy touches is like all of a sudden super simple, and I love that about him. And one of the things that he says frequently, is he says that the biggest difference between someone that's successful and not successful is implementation. So taking something, you listen to somebody, you choose, right? You pick somebody that is in a position that you want to be in, and you say, I want to learn how to be like that guy, or to have what that guy has, or be as successful as that person, right? You do that. What do? Do you then, when that person tells you to do something, do you say, yeah, but, or do you say okay and do
Yeah,
it? You
yeah,
know, and that's something that I had to learn. You have to kind of back down the ego a little bit, which was another struggle of mine. Okay, so and that's probably my biggest words of wisdom. So, you know, if you're in the position of working too hard, long hours, never having time to spend with kids and family, that's where I was at. And you want life to be free, where you can have freedom of time and money, which is where I'm at now.
yeah.
I am telling you that you need to start digital marketing, because in my personal opinion, there's nowhere else that you can actually accomplish that in such a rapid period of
Right. Wow, that's great. I love it. Hey, I don't want to keep you all night. I know you've got other things you need to do to get on some webinars and stuff.
time.
So,
Yep.
thank you so much, Zach, for helping me out with that. And
Sure.
guys, have a wonderful evening.
You too, Aaron. Thanks.
Bye bye.
Yeah.